So Charles, this is the first time that I've ever had to start an interview with an apology. But on my show one time, David Hoffman came on and called Cardano a scam. So Charles, this is the first time that I've ever had to start an interview with an apology. But on my show one time, David Hoffman came on and called Cardano a scam, which I sort of shrugged off and continued on, but it obviously went viral. And to be clear, I do not feel that way. And actually, I believe it's massively damaging in this space that people call anyone a scam or a scammer when it's not the case. So I do apologize that happened, and I obviously don't believe in censoring people. But I'm curious why you think in this space there is that level of outright tribalism, competition, general hate. It's my feeling that we're small enough that everybody should be working together.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting space. It's almost like being in politics. You know, we focus so much on technology and science, and we've built this incredible community. There's 3.5 million people in the Cardano ecosystem now, and we had a community event the day we came here. 1,200 people showed up for it. Some people came from Australia and Singapore, and the level of passion and enthusiasm was just overwhelming. So I think it works probably on both sides, that if you can't have one side without the other. So if you have a lot of people that really love what you do and what you build and the things you think about, you'll have a lot of people, for some reason, they go beyond dislike and they go into active hate or name calling or accusations, and it's bizarre. And I always ask, well, what is a scam? You know, we wrote 140 papers. We've been doing this as an ecosystem for over 6 years. We've delivered Byron and Shelley and Alonzo, and you might disagree with what we do. You might think what we do is not commercializable or it's the wrong strategy, but where exactly is the scam? Explain that to me. They never do. They never can. At least in a reasonable way. And there's some tribalism around doctrine, like there's proof of work versus proof of stake. There's questions about distribution. There's questions about use and utility. And there's just some people that are radically misinformed, and they take a really harsh step forward, and they use language that you'd never use in a commercial context. The CEO of Microsoft doesn't say, "Oh, Tim Cook is a criminal." It doesn't happen this way. They of course say, "Oh, well, the iPhone is not very good," or this or that, and that's commercial puffery. But to go beyond that and say someone is a criminal or is dishonest, meanwhile you have the VC distributions. Meanwhile, you have the collapse of Terra. Meanwhile, you have all these things that happen that are very much predatory to very innocent people. And this behavior is pervasive throughout the industry, but apparently that seems to be excused in many circles. But then when you go and write 140 research papers, you're the worst scammer in the entire world. So I don't understand it. I really don't. And we just live it, we deal with it, and you can't let it bother you. You have to move on.
It's very hard not to let it bother you, because obviously negativity just is amplified, I think, in the human mind. Do you ever experience that in person, or is it really just anonymous behind a screen trolling? I mean, some of the people obviously are not anonymous.
Oh, I've seen it in person. I was at conferences years ago, and people would say, "Sit at another table, you fucking scammer," and things like that. And I've had toilet paper thrown at me when I was at the Bitcoin conference last year in 2021. You certainly see it, but on the other hand, you see a lot of love too. People give me gifts from all over the world. People have tattooed our logo on their body. So again, you get a mixed bag in these types of things. And maybe it's because the stakes are so high. Because the reality is, if crypto works, you're literally changing everything in the world.